Lesson 4: Advanced Animations in Animate CC. In the previous year, you learned how to create basic animations. You also covered that an Animate CC movie consists of frames, which are the basic units of an animate movie. We enter the content for each frame, after which Animate CC movie displays the frames in series to play the movie. Timeline and layers. The timeline in Adobe Animate CC organizes and controls a document's content over time in layers and frames. Like a movie film, animate documents divide lengths of time into frames. Layers are like multiple film strips stacked on top of one another, each containing a different image that appears on the stage. The major components of the timeline are layers, frames, and the playhead. Understanding timelines. The timeline shows where animation occurs in a document, including frame-by-frame animation, tweened animation, and motion paths. Controls in the Layers section of the timeline let you hide, show, lock or unlock layers, and display layer content as outlines. You can drag timeline frames to a new location on the same layer or to a different layer. Frames with black dots are keyframes. The light red rectangle indicates playhead. To insert a new frame or keyframe, follow these steps. Step 1. Click on the rectangular placeholder where you want to insert a frame or keyframe. Step 2. Select Insert Timeline Frame or Insert Timeline Keyframe or Insert Timeline Blank Keyframe. Tips: Shortcuts. Insert a frame, F5. Insert a keyframe, F6. Copying a frame or frame sequence. To copy a keyframe or frame sequence by dragging. Step 1. Select the keyframe or sequence, then Alt-drag Windows or Option-drag Macintosh to the new location. To copy and paste a frame or frame sequence. Step 2. Select the frame or sequence. Step 3. Select Edit, Timeline, Copy Frames. Step 4. Select a frame or sequence that you want to replace. Step 5. Select Edit, Timeline, Paste Frames. Changing the length of a frame sequence. You can change the length of a frame sequence by selecting and dragging the first or the last frame of the sequence on the timeline. Deleting a frame or frame sequence. A frame, keyframe, or frame sequence can be deleted from the Animate CC window using the following steps. Step 1. Select the frame, keyframe, or sequence. Step 2. Right-click Windows or Control-click Macintosh the frame, keyframe, or sequence. Step 3. Select Remove Frames from the context menu. Surrounding frames remain unchanged. Or Step 1. Select Edit, Timeline, Remove Frames. Understanding layers. Layers enable you to organize the artwork in your document. You can draw and edit objects on one layer without affecting objects on another layer. In areas of the stage with nothing on a layer, you can see through it to the layers below. To draw, paint, or otherwise modify a layer or folder, select the layer in the timeline to make it active. A pencil icon next to a layer or folder name in the timeline indicates that the layer or folder is active. Only one layer can be active at a time, although more than one layer can be selected at a time. You can also hide, lock, or rearrange layers. The number of layers you can create is limited only by your computer's memory. Creating or inserting a layer. When you create a layer, it appears above the selected layer. The newly added layer becomes the active layer. Do one of the following. Click the New Layer button at the bottom of the timeline. Select Insert Timeline Layer. Right-click Windows or Control+click Macintosh a layer number in the timeline and select Insert Layer from the context menu. Renaming a layer. To rename a layer, do one of the following. Step 1. Double-click the layer name and type the new name. Step 2. Select the layer or folder in the timeline and select Modify Timeline Layer Properties. Enter the new name in the name box and click OK. Deleting a layer. To delete a layer from a timeline, do one of the following. Step 1. Click the Delete Layer button in the timeline. Step 2. Drag the layer or folder to the Delete Layer button. Step 3. Right-click Windows or Ctrl+click Macintosh the layer or folder name and select Delete Layers from the context menu. Hiding a layer. A X next to the name of a layer or folder in the timeline indicates that a layer or folder is hidden. To hide a layer or folder, click in the I column to the right of the layer or folder name in the timeline. To show the layer or folder, click in it again, or selecting the layer you want to hide. Click the black dot below the Show or Hide All Layers icon beside the enemy of the selected layer. A cross sign appears. Now this layer is hidden. Locking and unlocking layer. To lock a layer or folder, click in the Lock column to the right of the name. To unlock the layer or the folder, click in the Lock column again. Changing the orders of layers. To change the order of the layers, click the name of the layer you want to move and drag it to the required position. Animation with motion tweening. Let's see an example to understand the tweening option. To use the motion tween option, follow these steps. Step 1. Draw a new shape or import a new image to the stage in frame 1. Step 2. Convert the shape into a symbol by following the steps given below. Select Modify, Convert to Symbol. The Convert to Symbol dialog box appears. Select the type as graphic. Name the symbol as Shape 1. Click OK. You will see a blue square border around the graphic. Step 3. Now, select Insert Motion Tween. The layer containing the shape becomes a twin layer and timeline shows a span of frames as shaded. Step 4. Now drag the shape to a new position on the stage to mark the end of the position of the shape in the animation. The motion path is along which the object moves. Step 5. Now test the movie by selecting Control, Test. You will see the shape move from top right corner to PM1, the bottom left corner of the stage. Step 6. Play the movie by selecting Control Play. Changing the motion path. When you position a tween instance across the stage, you see a motion path for that animation to appear on the stage. Motion path is a line that represents the spatial movement of the tweened instance. Its dots, sometimes called tween dots or frame dots, represent the position of the target object along the path on the timeline. The position of the target object is represented as a single frame or groups of frames. You can edit or change the motion path of a motion tween in the following ways. Change the position of the object in any frame of the tween span. Move the entire motion path to a different location on the stage. Change the shape or size of the path with the selection, sub-selection, or free transform tools. Change the shape or size of the path with the transform panel or property inspector. Use the commands in the Modify, Transform menu. Apply a custom stroke as a motion path. Use the motion editor or select the motion path using selection tool. Drag the motion path as desired to a new location. Animation with motion and shape tweening. A motion tween animates symbols moving in space. When you create a motion tween, then you can click on any frame in the tween, move the symbol on that frame. If you create one shape on one keyframe and another shape on another keyframe, you can connect those two shapes with a shape tween. The tween will perform whatever calculations and morphs needed to transform the first shape into the second. Let's see an example where both shape and motion tweens are inserted into the stage object. To do the same, follow these steps. Step 1. Create a new Animate CC document. Step 2. Change the name of layer 1 using rename. Step 3. Select frame 1 and select the rename tool. Set fill color yellow and draw a oval. Then convert this oval object into a symbol. Step 4. Select the 40th frame in the timeline at the bottom and insert a keyframe to it by selecting Insert Timeline Keyframe. Step 5. change the position and color the oval object. Step 6. To any frame between 1 to 40, insert, create classic tween. Step 7. Click Insert Layer and add a new layer. Rename its name from oval to rectangle. Step 8. Click Frame 1 of the rectangle layer and draw a rectangle using the Rectangle tool. Step 9. Select the 40th frame of the rectangle layer and insert a keyframe by selecting Insert Timeline Keyframe. Step 10. Keep the frame 40th still selected. Change the shape to rectangle. Step 11. To create a shape tween in the rectangle layer, select any frame between 1st and 40th frame, select Insert, Create Shape Tween. Step 12. Save the movie. Step 13. Play the movie by selecting Control Play. Using the onion skin feature, usually one frame of the animation sequence at a time appears on the stage. To help position and edit a frame-by-frame animation, view 2 or more frames on the stage at once by default. To retain the old behavior, ensure to modify the past and future frames to black. You can control the number of frames by dragging the Start Onion Skin and End Onion Skin markers in the timeline. Color-coded onion skinning. Onion skinning color coding helps you distinguish between the past, present, and future frames. Onion skin frames that move away from active frame appear with progressively decreasing transparency. Using a masking layer. For spotlight effects and transitions, use a mask layer to create a hole through which underlying layers are visible. A mask item can be filled, shape, a type object, an instance of a graphic symbol, or a movie clip. Group multiple layers under a single mask layer to create sophisticated effects. Create a mask layer. Step 1. Select or create a layer containing the objects to appear inside the mask. Step 2. Select Insert, Timeline, Layer to create a new layer above it. On the right click to this layer, an option of mask appears. On selecting that option, it becomes a mask layer. Let's learn more by using an example illustrated below. Step 1. Create a new Animate CC document. Step 2. Change the stage color by going to Modify Document. The Display Properties dialog box appears and make the appropriate changes. Step 3. Change the name of Layer 1 to Text Layer. Step 4. Using the Text tool, type Hello Students on the stage. Step 5. Insert a new layer above the previous layer and name the new layer as Mask. Step 6. Select the first frame of the new layer, Mask Layer, and draw a white-colored oval shape using Oval tool. Make sure the shape is bigger than the text. Step 7. Convert the shape into a symbol. Step 8. Insert a keyframe using F6 at frame number 40 in the first layer and mask layer respectively. Step 9. Keep the mask layer selected, the oval shape to the right of the written text. Step 10. Go to Insert, Create Motion Tween between any frame from 1 to 40 in the mask layer. Step 11. Right-click the mask layer and select the mask option in the context menu to convert the layer named Mask into an Animate CC mask layer. Step 12. Save the field and play the movie. Control Play. You will observe that as the oval shape moves from left to right on the screen, the text behind it becomes visible. Applying filters. Filters, graphic effects, let you add enriching visual effects to text, buttons, and movie clips. A feature unique to Animate is that you can animate the filters you apply using motion tweens. Apply or remove filter. Select a text, button, or movie clip object to apply a filter to or remove a filter form. In the Filters section of the Property panel, do one of the following. To add a filter, click the button and select a filter. Experiment with the settings until you get the desired look. Select the desired option out of many. Say Glow. Glow filter option appears. You can set the Blur X option, specify the glow color, etc. To remove a filter, select the filter to remove in the list of applied filters and click the Remove Filter button. You can delete or rename any presets. Working with sound. Adobe Animate offers several ways to use sound. Make sounds that play continuously, independent of the timeline, or use the timeline to synchronize animation to a soundtrack. Add sounds to buttons to make them more interactive and make sounds fade in and out for a more polished soundtrack. It supports various types of audio files such as MP3, WAV, Adobe Sound, .asnd, AIFF, Sound Designer, 2, .sd2, Sun AU, .au.snd, FLAC, .flac, .ogg vorbis, .ogg.oga, etc. Following steps are followed to add soundtracks to Animate CC. Importing sounds. You place sound files to Animate by importing them into the library or directly importing them to Stage. The File, Import to Library menu option places the audio only in the library and not on the timeline. When you import an audio file using File, Import to Stage menu option, or by dragging and dropping the audio file directly to the timeline, the audio will be placed on active frame of the active layer. If you drag and drop multiple audio files, the only one audio file will be imported because one frame can contain only one audio. To import audio, use one of the following methods. To import an audio file to library, select File, Import to Library and select the audio file that you want to import. To import an audio file to Stage, select File, Import to Stage and select the audio file that you want to import. Drag and drop the audio file directly to the stage. After the audio file is imported to library, it appears in the library as shown below. Keywords. Frames. In the timeline, you work with the frames to organize and control the content of your document. Keyframe. A keyframe is a frame where a new symbol instance appears in the timeline. Span. Span-based frame selection allows you to select a range of frames between two keyframes with a single click. Timeline. The timeline shows where animation occurs in a document, including frame-by-frame animation, tweened animation, and motion paths. Quick recap. The light red rectangle indicates playhead. The timeline displays the time in seconds along with the frame numbers. This feature allows faster conversion from frames to time and also keeps you aware of the frames per second (FPS) value you have to set throughout the animation process. Motion tweens are used to create animation movements within Animate. It is a type of animation that uses symbols to create movement, size and rotation changes, fades and color effects. Classic tweens. Tweens between two keyframes with same or different symbols. Layers help you organize the artwork in your Adobe Animate CC document. You can draw and edit objects on one layer without affecting objects on another layer. In areas of the stage with nothing on a layer, you can see through it to the layers below to draw, paint, or otherwise modify a layer. Mask layers contain objects used as masks to hide selected portions of layers below them. Only the portion of the mask layer not covered by the mask is visible. Onion skinning is used to compare the previous and next frames and adjust the objects in the current frame.